Hello everybody, circle gatherers and YouTube witch community. For those of you that know me on my channel, this is Mist White Wolf. For anyone else that knows me, you know my name. Anyhow, I wanted to do a really quick video today. It's early in the morning, so I don't think anyone's around. Normally I'm giving the neighbors something to talk about with things in my yard or some of the things that I'm up to, but I wanted to do this with no distractions. So here's hoping. So I've created an ancestor garden this year, which I'm going to work specifically with for healing. So I wanted to show you the garden that I've created, tell you how I've got it to the point where it is now, and give you a little bit of information on what my plans are with it going forward and how I'm going to go through why I've selected the herbs with you in the next little while. I hope to release some videos to talk about each of the herbs that I have in this garden and perhaps some of the herbs that I have even behind me in another garden, and bring in some items that can infuse your garden with positive energy. For this specific garden that I have here, I will talk about some of the things that I have in it now and my plans on what I'm going to do in the future to continue to infuse it with that ancestor energy. So anyhow, I'm going to turn the camera around and give you a look. Okay, so there's just a few things in here right now. In the left-hand corner there, you'll see some bergamot. Bear with me, sorry for the shakiness. There's some bergamot there. I've got a lot of these herbs from a local nursery, except for this one here specifically, I guess. This is lavender. As you can see, there's my a clamshell that someone had painted for me with the Acadian flag on it. I'll get into that in a little bit here. And this is summer savory. So a local nursery that has interesting herbs in Nova Scotia is called Riverview Herbs. They have not just your regular culinary herbs, but they also have some different herbs that you might not see on the regular, like this one. I see there's a leaf I've got to get rid of in there, but this is marshmallow. This is an herb that you don't see in every nursery. So this is the one that I'm going to introduce to you today, so I'll just get into that in a little bit. And in another corner over here, I've got some Tulsi, but I'm not going to show you that too much because it looks like something was into that last night, so I'm going to give that a little bit of TLC, and hopefully soon I will tell you why I'm working with that one. Anyway, so the garden itself, as you can see, I've got that clamshell that has the my Ancestor's Acadian flag on it. But I'll be painting some rocks and other things and putting them in here that will represent my family. For example, the crests on either side of my family. I'm going to give it a whirl and see if I can paint the family crests on a couple of flat stones and put them in here. And also I'll be bringing my ancestor offerings out here this summer, getting them out of my living room on my ancestor altar. I'll just do the stuff in there that I'm not worried about, like maybe if I want to light a candle or, you know, an alcohol offering or a drink, something that's not sugary. I want to keep that stuff outside if I can for now. Just give myself a little break from worrying about what's potentially going bad. Anyway, so I'm also going to be creating a sigil that I will put here that will represent my ancestors as a whole. So look for that in the near future. And also I will be feeding this garden with sea compost. And I'll tell you why I've selected sea compost. So my ancestors, I live in Nova Scotia, but I didn't always live here. I'm from PEI, so my ancestors would have come to Nova Scotia or other parts, I know that some of my French ancestors did come to Nova Scotia, and they lived in Acadia for a number of years, and then they moved to, some of them didn't live in New Glasgow, they lived all over, and I've got some family that live in the Magdalen Islands, still very different, distant family, but my grandmother was from there. My father's side of the family, there are some of my ancestors were from Wales, from different parts, obviously, of England, from Scotland and Ireland. So really, they've all kind of worked with the sea. A lot of them would have lived by the ocean. And when they moved to Prince Edward Island, they lived off of the earth and they lived off of the sea. So what my plan is to bring in some sea compost and feed it to this garden, as well as the regular fertilizer that I'll be giving to it. Could be some sheep manure or something like that, but I'm definitely going to be bringing in some, I already have actually put some sea compost in here, but I'll go to the ocean, I'll visit the ocean, and I'll bring back little bits of seaweed and perhaps even some crab shells, and I'll get into the crab shells in a little while, and I'll be putting little bits of that in here also as an offering and as a fertilizer. So this morning, it's the 20th here, so summer solstice weekend. I did dedicate this garden to my ancestors, so I am a practicing witch, so I do have a little bit of a ceremony when I do these kinds of things, or at least a bit of a dedication that it's written down, and I do speak it out loud, and then whenever I come out here, of course, I'll be thinking about all of the reasons why I have this ancestor garden, not just for healing, but magically. So when I work in this garden, I'll have all of those things in mind. Anyhow, but just a little disclaimer here. When you decide that you're going to start to, or if you decide you're going to start to work with herbs on the regular, if you are taking medication for any reason at all, consult your pharmacist and ask them if any of the herbs that you're going to be taking internally, or even, if you're going to be making a salve or a cream, or, an oil that you'll be wearing, you just want to make sure that you're not going to have an adverse effect to it. So if there are any herbs that you decide to bring into your life that you're going to create some sort of a relationship with, where you're going to be ingesting it or putting it on you topically, and you're taking medication, please, please, please make sure that you speak to your pharmacist first before you go ahead and start healing yourself holistically, while you're also healing yourself with pharmaceuticals. So we'll get into the marshmallow root now. I'm just going to turn this camera around, but I'll give you a quick peek at the marshmallow plant itself.